Hey guys, this is Jay Calderma, JAYONBOXING, here with predictions for the Amanda Serrano versus Nina Meinke card. And as always, these are just my takes, of course. Your predictions can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear them all. But before we get started, of course, please be sure to like, subscribe, share, all that great stuff. You guys are pretty active with that kind of thing, and I definitely appreciate it. And the show info here is going to be headlined, of course, by Amanda Serrano taking on Nina Meinke, as mentioned. This will be at the Jose Miguel AGRELOT COLISEO in Puerto Rico. This, of course, will be aired on DAZN in the featherweight division, with the Ring Magazine featherweight title and IBF, WBA, and WBO featherweight titles on the line that are currently possessed by Serrano. In the featured fights, we'll of course see in that prominent spot Jake Paul taking on Ryan Bourland in the cruiserweight division with no title on the line, but we will have a title on the line in the junior flyweight contest between Jonathan Gonzalez and RENE Santiago, with the WBO version of the strap possessed by Gonzalez up for grabs as well. Well, this is an interesting one in Puerto Rico. Of course, the big name of Jake Paul is fighting another actual boxer in Ryan Bourland. Whether or not he once retired, whatever, we at least see him fighting another boxer. But we also have a couple of world title fights on the bill as well. Topping the bill is again Puerto Rican star Amanda Serrano defending her unified gold at featherweight against Nina Meinke. Decent opponent for a homecoming fight in my opinion. Meinke can box a little bit, and Serrano can definitely box and bang, so it could be an interesting style clash, again, at the very least for a homecoming fight. As mentioned, of course, we will be seeing Paul take on Bourland in the co-featured bout, but in perhaps the toughest fight of the night, we will be seeing a junior flyweight contest between titleist Gonzalez taking on Santiago in an all Puerto Rican bout, so certainly a fun bit of action there, could be fun. Thought it'd be an interesting fight to cover, so here we are. Let's break these fights down. Starting off with the main event here, and of course with Serrano. Serrano likes to apply pressure, especially if she feels she can take the shots coming back. And with only a handful or so of stoppages in her pro career, Meinke is not a puncher, so Serrano will look to get inside and get to work. That said, I think Serrano should concern herself with landing more than landing the big shots. The big shots will come, especially if she works the sweeping right hand and the left hand down the middle. I think those will work for her, but overloading power against a mover can make it trickier, and a much trickier fight than it needs to be. Another way Serrano can simplify things, if you will, in this fight is by just cutting off the ring and not chasing her. At times, Serrano gets a bit intent on landing something hurtful, and she gets a bit heavy-footed and follows opponents around. Instead, corner the mover and let your hands go then. As the fight wears on, the output mixed with the natural heavy hands you possess can be enough to get Meinke in trouble and end matters, but you don't want to force the matter against a mover. Even if she's not landing but making you miss big blows, it can tire you out and make it a tougher outing than it needs to be. And switching over to the challenger here for Meinke, Meinke likes to move, and she does so pretty well. Her issue is that she's facing a very good pressure fighter, and Meinke may not have enough snap in her jab to keep Serrano off of her. Long-term in a championship fight, that could be a problem. A way to keep Serrano a bit more honest is finding the timing for the lead left hand, which Meinke does like to throw. It's not a massive punch, but can catch Serrano coming in and have more force than just a plain jab, which of course you should still try to mix in to give different looks, but either way that lead shot can work as well from the backhand spot. And that switching of looks and going back and forth between lead shots can go a long way towards catching Serrano walking in. The more you get her timing down and switch up your plan of attack or counter, the better you have a chance of scoring and avoiding an onslaught. You're a mover, so naturally, move. And that movement can potentially walk Serrano into the blows you're looking to land, especially if she's frustrated and or loading up. Wait for those moments as well to land, circle away and resume when you've reestablished your base and are in the position you're in, safe from her blows, but able to land your own. Now in terms of my pick here, Meinke might make it a bit of a challenge, but I think Serrano ultimately gets to her. Perhaps overly trying to impress in Puerto Rico, Serrano may be overzealous at times, especially early, but I think she settles in and starts to land serious work in the early to middle frames. Meinke will be game and try to move and try to lay some traps, but I see Serrano breaking through that, landing big left hands down the middle, really kind of what ultimately determine this fight for her. Over time, the damage will pile up and might even drop Meinke. This, perhaps through cuts or a corner's decision, will ultimately cause the bout to be waved off. Winner, Amanda Serrano via late fight stoppage. And in the co-featured fight of the evening, we're going, of course, with Paul versus Bourland here, and starting off with Paul. With Jake Paul, straight right hand is his bread and butter. That's his best shot, certainly the one that has caused the most damage in his career against opponents. That said, you have to use it two ways. Yes, score with the blow, but also use it to set up another solid shot in your bag, the uppercut. When Bourland's anticipating the straight right, throw it underneath. Switch between those shots to keep him honest. Bourland's also coming in looking to hook shots in, so the uppercut underneath all that work is definitely a shot that can catch him clean if you find the sweet spot before or during some of Bourland's attacks. Those kind of well-placed shots will also serve to keep Bourland from trying to rush in and press Paul back, which for Paul is what you want. Bourland isn't a massive puncher, but he will throw some bigger blows, and that's what he's looking to do around the guard and in flurries if you let him push you back. Instead, be a bit lighter on your feet and land those right hands to keep him at bay. If he tries to move in, keep the guard up and circle away. The power will come naturally for you, especially in that right hand, and especially if you sneak it in underneath. You don't need to force it. Keep a little more light on your feet, use more of that athleticism, and make it an easier night for yourself. And switching over to the underdog here with Bourland, Jake is the bigger puncher and the bigger dude naturally. So you don't want to be on the outside if you're Bourland. You want to get on the inside and get to work. That's what you have to do if you have any chance in this fight if you're Bourland. Your style suits you more in close anyway, but especially if you're the lighter guy, it's certainly where you need to be because you don't want to be on the outside at the end of Paul's power shots. Once inside, you want to throw to the body. Throw those hooks upstairs as well. You want to touch Paul anywhere really. Just get to him. This is going to accomplish a couple of things for you. You want to disrupt Paul and make him uncomfortable, but you also want to be able to score while minimizing your risk of being caught along the way from the outside. And this can be helped along by starting the fight off strong, which of course doesn't mean jumping in and being reckless, but it does mean not acting timid or waiting for the perfect moment in this kind of heightened fight for you. You need to get your hands busy and get behind some kind of jab to take the initiative. This will help you get off to a solid start in terms of the scoring, but also mentally, in terms of the confidence. You put that pressure on Paul, it also might drain some of the confidence out of him and make him make some of the mistakes you can catch him with, particularly that overhand shot that he sometimes seems susceptible to because his hands are too far out in front of him when he's trying to look to land. You start adding to that pressure and landing some of those bigger blows, and of course you can potentially gas Paul, especially if you attack the body as mentioned. While you might be the older fighter, if you can tax him early and he has shown signs of slowing down, it makes it a more level playing field in the latter frames if you get to work on that and get to work on it early. Now, in terms of my pick here, based on size, age, and overall skill, I think Jake Paul takes this one in a bit of a mismatch. Cruiserweight has some big dudes, so anything in terms of any kind of punch can definitely happen, but Bourland is a light heavyweight career-wise and not a huge puncher, so there's that to some degree. I think Paul has to avoid some early rushes, but lands the right hands consistently and starts pushing Bourland back, especially if he starts landing those underneath shots like the uppercut as well. Paul steps in, landing the big right hand, and finishes his man up against the ropes with a referee stoppage. Winner, Jake Paul via mid-fight stoppage. And in terms of the quick picks here, we have, again, as mentioned, Jonathan Gonzalez taking on Rene Santiago. This will be at the junior flyweight limit with Gonzalez's belt on the line. Winner, Rene Santiago via unanimous decision. This is a weird one. Two Puerto Ricans like to box and move. Both have been vulnerable before. Both have been stopped, but both running pretty hot recently. Perhaps Gonzalez has done it against a better opposition. Well, he has, no perhaps, but something tells me Santiago hurts him in this fight, and then Santiago does enough with a more timid Gonzalez at his disposal to earn the points win. Of course, this is an upset, so definitely could be wrong, but Santiago in an upset for me. And looking at the betting odds here, of course, you have pretty sizable favorites here, and I have gone with the favorites, so not a great deal of value in terms of the money lines in my particular opinion. I'd probably find a lot more value in the over-under, but haven't been able to find those particular odds yet. When I do find them, of course, I'll pin them in the comments down below, but in any event for now, those are your odds. And my prediction record as of this recording is 11-3 with 7 exact for the year. But let me know your guys' thoughts, your bets, your picks, all that good stuff down in the comments. And of course, please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow. Check out all the social media here. And be sure to visit JAYONBOXING.com for schedule, results, betting odds, grades, rankings, and more. And as always, until next time.